So Mayor Tau, what was it like yesterday, even though I know today is actually the official opening?
Well, yesterday was very good because we had the opportunity to have joint sessions between the South African Cities Network and the Metropolis delegates that are here. And the idea really was to share experiences from a South African and an international point of view. We also had the opportunity to have a discussion on safer cities, a dedicated session that was convened by UN Habitat, and as cities reflecting on the role that we can play in improving the safety of the citizens in our cities.
But basically what happens today, because today is the official opening?
Today is the official opening. We are privileged that Minister Trevor Manuel is the keynote speaker this morning, as is the Premier of Gauteng, Premier Mpho, will also be with us. We'll also be having on that panel the Deputy Executive Director of UN Habitat. So we are very excited about the inputs that they would be making. The second session is where we're really getting into the heart of the matter. It's a session that's focusing on the theme caring cities. And we have the opportunity there to present what we think caring cities are.
Okay, because I need to ask you this question. What is a caring city?
And that's the question that we were presenting. The reason we presented it as the theme for this conference is that we thought it would be important to place at the heart of the discussions about local government people. People as the primary interface with cities. You know, when we talk cities, we usually talk about roads, we talk about lights, so it's pipes, it's ties, wires. And in this instance, we thought, no, let's have an emphasis on people. So the themes, the sub-themes would look at things like food security, mobility. Mobility, not just about transporting people, but mobility as a mechanism to enable people to interface with their city, to interface with the amenity that urban environments provide. And that's why we thought caring cities places people at the center of the discussion.
Now, it must have been quite an achievement for Johannesburg to have basically won the bid to host this international conference. But for you, what would you like to see come out of today, if there was one thing that you could choose?
Well, firstly, it's the collective commitment. The collective commitment to humanity that we have to contribute to as cities. And this could range from issues like climate change. What do we do as cities? We can't always wait for governments to make decisions in the UN about climate change, because we are responsible for the environments in which the climate is impacted on. We're responsible for roads, we're responsible for mobility and transportation, we're responsible for electricity distribution. So the things that impact on climate are actually things that are run by municipalities.
What are you going to do to make sure that this doesn't become yet another talk shop, and that once it's over, we have constructive methods that we can take with us moving forward?
The advantage of Metropolis is that it's an association based on not just networking, but on benchmarking. So we do a lot of benchmarking against other cities. We also do joint programs, so we have declarations about initiatives that we'll be undertaking jointly. And then we also have support systems for municipalities. So when we talk, for example, about implementing the bus rapid transit system, people don't always know that in fact we have associations like Metropolis that are providing technical and other means of support to ensure that these things are able to happen in our municipalities.
Now, I heard that there was a trip yesterday that looked at the BRT. Was that an outing that happened yesterday with members, or is that still to happen?
Yesterday we had visits to different parts of the city, and those were focused on urban renewal. We had the opportunity to invite the former mayor of Johannesburg, Amos Masondo, to address the delegates about the work that he did as mayor of the city of Johannesburg in regenerating the inner city of Johannesburg, but also the regeneration of Soweto. So the urban renewal excursions were about an experience of what Soweto was in 2000 and how it has changed now. The same about the inner city, the challenges we faced then and the progress we've made so far.
So did you go with?
No, unfortunately I couldn't go with. Unfortunately I had other meetings, including with the Deputy Executive Director of UN Habitat, and We had interesting discussions about the programs that would be implemented with you inhabited.
Well, that's what former mayors are there for, to help when you're busy. So thanks very much for that.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for the interview.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.